A very good afternoon to all the learners who have joined in today. I welcome you all to this special session of Testbook Super Coaching with me and Neeja ma'am today joining in for a very enriching session for all of you. So learners, quickly join the session, like the session as a mark of your attendance. Don't forget to share it with your friends and do subscribe to our channel. All those students who are coming to this platform for the first time, and if you are preparing for upcoming UGC NET set examination, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. So give me a quick confirmation if everything is fine and we are good to go. Hello, Neeja ma'am. Very good afternoon. Ma'am, can you hear me?
Hi, ma'am. Yes, definitely I can hear you. Good afternoon, ma'am. Thank you
Good
so
afternoon,
much for such a lovely introduction,
ma'am.
an energized introduction in the afternoon.
Yes, ma'am, much needed. And the students are waiting for this session. They are quite excited. And we are looking forward that it should be one such informative session which will give them the right kind of guidance which is needed at this point of time, which makes their preparation all the more better. So, learners, we are very excited. Ma'am is there. So, give us a quick thumbs up that everything is fine and we can start the session. Yes, ma'am.
Absolutely. मैम मच नीडेड सेशन बिकॉज इंग्लिश में particularly काफ़ी सारे बार हम देखते हैं कि पेपर वन में बच्चे स्ट्रगल करते हैं एंड हु बेटर देन यू बिकॉज यू आर अ वेटरन व्हेन इट कम्स टू पेपर वन एक्सपर्टीज और कई बार पेपर वन को एक तरह से दे डोंट रियली नो वेयर टू स्टार्ट फ्रॉम और इंग्लिश इतना वास्ट होता है कि दे थिंक कि सिर्फ इंग्लिश ही करते रह जाते हैं दैट इज लाइक नॉट अ गुड स्टेप एट ऑल सो आई थिंक जस्ट लाइक आई सेड अ मच नीडेड सेशन टू मेक श्योर कि आप दोनों चीज़ों को कंबाइंड वे में अच्छी तरह से पढ़ रहे हैं ताकि यू कैन कलेक्टिवली गो फॉरवर्ड ताकि यू कैन कलेक्टिवली मेक श्योर दैट यू मर्ज पेपर वन एंड पेपर टू तो ऑफ कोर्स थैंक यू सो मच रादर फॉर हेल्पिंग अस विद दिस सेशन मैम
It's my pleasure, and it'll be at the end of the day. It's for benefit of our students. So, जो भी students आ चुके हैं, एक बार फटाफट से confirmation दे दीजिए, so that we can start the session. Screen पे timings mentioned है, मैम के और मेरे paper one के timings के. So, learners do join all these sessions. These sessions are planned with some very important things in mind. What we can expect in today's session, I'll quickly let you people go through. Neeja ma'am and I will be discussing the full syllabus, as in what all is expected from the upcoming exam. We are going to guide you with strategy how to cover these units. किस तरह से आपको ये units stipulated time period में cover करनी है, and we'll be practicing some important questions. Yes, so it's a power packed session so that this 1 hour you'll have a complete understanding of paper 1 and paper 2 literature English and how you have to go ahead. Also, you'll understand which kinds of questions are being asked. So, ma'am will be sharing her expertise with all of you. कहीं जाने की जरूरत नहीं है. Everything will be taken care of here. So, learners, are we ready to start the session? A quick confirmation that you all have liked the session. You have shared it with your friends and are ready to understand how to plan ahead, and so that June JRF is yours. So I can see, ma'am, students have started joining in and everything is fine. So, ma'am, first of all, as I said, we'll be discussing the strategy alongside the syllabus, and we'll be practicing some PYQs. So, ma'am, as everyone knows, I'll just start up with paper one. Then subsequently, you can take it up for paper two. So, learners, whenever you are appearing for UGC NET exam, you have to appear for 2 papers. So, both the papers hold equal importance. However, in terms of marking, 100 marks are for paper 1 and 200 marks are for paper 2. So in your case, English 200 marks is what you have to work on. Whenever we are working on paper 1, there are 50 questions, each carrying 2 marks, and that translates to 100 marks. Similarly, 100 questions which 2 marks each makes 200 marks for English. Now, the game is for this 300 marks in totality, which you have to work. Now, कौन-कौन से topics हमें cover करने पड़ते हैं, उनमें किस तरह से हम अपनी strategy को लाएंगे, उन सभी चीजों के बारे में हम अभी बात करेंगे. So to begin with paper 1, as you all know, we have to study 10 units, learners. We have teaching, research, reading comprehension, communication, reasoning, logical reasoning, data interpretation, information and communication technology, people and environment, and higher education. So, learners, as it has always been said that it is very important that you should make a perfect balance between both the papers, because both are equally important, right? No matter a number of marks are in the not distributed equally, but yes, advantage with paper 2 is there because that is your own paper. So Neeja ma'am, would you please guide our students what all they have to study in paper 2?
Absolutely, absolutely, bilkul. Ma'am, thanks so much for helping us, with the 10 important units that come in paper one. उन्हीं को ही merge करते हुए, first I'd like to quickly start कि paper one और paper two में क्या-क्या topics काफी common हैं. मैं देखती हूँ तुलिका मैम के communication sessions are so impactful, and when you look at your language basic concepts, उसमें काफी सारा आपका paper one का communication भी, input output mechanism, message किस तरह से बनता है, a lot of those things obviously become very important. साथ ही साथ में आपका रिसर्च एप्टीट्यूड जो पेपर वन में आता है, अगेन दोनों प्रीति मैम, तुलिका मैम कितने प्यार अच्छी तरीके से सारे के सारे ये कंपोनेंट्स को पढ़ाते हैं. रिसर्च मेथड्स एंड मटेरियल्स में भी ऑलमोस्ट 30% इज एक्चुअली कोरिलेटेड विद पेपर वन. एडिशनली बहुत पहले ऑफ कोर्स आपका पॉलिटी भी मर्ज हो जाता था, बट अब ऑफ कोर्स पेपर वन के अंदर पॉलिटी के क्वेश्चंस नहीं आते, और मैम विल बी हेल्पिंग अस विद हर एक्सपर्टीज के वो आते हैं कि नहीं, बट कहीं ना कहीं वो भी इंग्लिश इन इंडिया पर्टिकुलरली द एवोल्यूशन part is actually correlated with that. तो ये तो commonalities हो जाती हैं आपके पेपर वन एंड पेपर टू के अंदर. इंडिपेंडेंटली आपका ड्रामा, पोइट्री, फिक्शन, नॉन फिक्शनल प्रोज, ये पूरा का पूरा स्प्रेड अक्रॉस होता है. आपके पोस्ट कॉलोनियल राइटिंग्स, आपके इंडियन राइटिंग्स, आपके अमेरिकन लिटरेचर, ब्रिटिश राइटिंग्स, इन सब में आपको ड्रामा, पोइट्री, ये सारी चीजें पूछी जाती हैं. बिसाइड्स आपका लैंग्वेज का डेवलपमेंट भी आता है. किस तरह से आपका केल्ट्स जो ओरिजिनल इनहैबिटेंट्स थे वो किस तरह से इंग्लिश को डेवलप करते हैं, लैटिन इन्फ्लुएंस, फ्रेंच इन्फ्लुएंस, कौन कौन से वर्ड्स कहाँ से आ रहे हैं वो पूछा जाता है. कल्चरल स्टडीज, इट इज नॉट कि हम लोग जो चीजें छोटी छोटी चीजें जो हम किस तरह के घर पे रहते हैं, दैट इज ऑल सिंबॉलिक ऑफ आवर बेस, आवर इकोनॉमिक बेस. फॉर इंस्टेंस हम किस तरह के आइडियोलॉजिकल स्टेट अपैरेटस से डील करते हैं वो आप कल्चरल स्टडीज मार्क्सिज्म के अंदर पढ़ते हो. दैट कल्चर इज नॉट इनोसेंट, कल्चर इज एक्चुअली रूटेड इन योर मटीरियल रियलिटी. लिटरेरी क्रिटिसिज्म एंड लिटरेरी थ्योरी, ये भी बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट फंडामेंटल एस्पेक्ट्स हैं. एंड ऑफ कोर्स ये दोनों के दोनों जो हैं ये आपका ऑलमोस्ट एरिस्टोटल से लेके, प्लेटो रादर से लेके ऑल द वे टिल द मॉडर्न टाइम्स आप देखते हैं कैसे एवोल्यूशन होता है. इको क्रिटिसिज्म, फेमिनिज्म, आपका पोस्ट ह्यूमनिज्म अब आजकल के टाइम में, एनिमल स्टडीज, फैट स्टडीज, ये सारी की सारी चीजें आपकी कवर होती हैं. तो ऑफ कोर्स ये आपके 10 यूनिट्स हैं जो पेपर टू में है. ओवर टू यू मैम.
Ma'am, just I could see the units. So, what according to you should be the right strategy at this point of time? Now, let's say, for example, we are left with less than 100 days. So, what is the main focus area wherein students should study more, or like which are the units which they just cannot afford to miss, and what is the time they used to give, they should give now? Because this is a very common question which our students, because we get paper one students and they are like they have paper two of varied subjects, so they often keep asking that what should be the balance. So we generally guide them that since paper two happens to be your master's ka subject, so you have a good understanding, but again you cannot miss, because the level of questions are on the higher side. They are most of the application based questions. So ma'am, does paper 2 literature also has this application based questions, or there are certain very stereotype of questions which are being asked a typical set of pattern, or there's a change in pattern, ma'am?
Right, absolutely, ma'am. That's a very good question that you've asked. 200% syllabus में change तो we've definitely seen. We've seen that how suddenly आपके काफी सारे questions जो cultural studies, decolonization. So Indian writers पे with the change of government काफी focus हो गया है. It is no more the and which makes sense because क्या फायदा है आप British writings कर रहे हैं, इतना ज्यादा American literature कर रहे हैं. Of course cosmopolitan outlook आपके पास आता है, लेकिन अब Indian aesthetics के ऊपर बहुत ज्यादा focus है. एप्लीकेशन बेस्ड क्वेश्चंस इतने नहीं, उल्टा क्रोनोलॉजी बेस्ड क्वेश्चंस, रीजन एंड असर्शन बेस्ड क्वेश्चंस, या और आरटीसी पैसेजेस, ये थोड़े से ट्रेंड्स में हम देख पाते हैं. इंडियन एस्थेटिक्स पे काफी ज्यादा ट्रेंड आ गया है. तभी जब लास्ट वीक भी हम लोगों का एक कंबाइंड सेशन हो रहा था, उसके अंदर दिस इज एग्जैक्टली व्हाट वी वर डिस्कसिंग के काफी सारे जो आप इंडियन लॉजिक में जैसे मैम पेपर वन में पढ़ाते हैं, उसके कुछ कुछ क्वेश्चंस अब आपको पेपर टू में इंग्लिश में देखने को मिल रहे हैं. सो ऑफ कोर्स डीकोलोनाइजेशन colonization जिसे मैं कहना चाहूंगी, जैसे the entire process of reclaiming our heritage, वो trend of course दिख पा रहा है आजकल नेट में, तो तभी post colonial writings, Indian writings, ये सब important हो गई हैं. Coming also to your very important question कि 100 days पे क्या चीज़ों पे focus करना चाहिए, तो I would say अगर आप 100 days अभी start कर रहे हैं, क्योंकि काफ़ी सारे लोग मैम मास्टर्स में तो कर रखा होता है लेकिन गैप हो जाता है, या तो कहीं कुछ काम कर रहे थे, या मैरिज की वजह से गैप आ गया, या किड्स की वजह से गैप आ जाता है. काफ़ी सारे हमारे स्टूडेंट्स, एंड हैट्स ऑफ टू ऑल ऑफ देम जो पढ़ाई कर रहे होते हैं. सो आई थिंक ऑफ कोर्स इतना फ्रेश मास्टर्स का शायद सब लोगों का इतना नहीं होता है, लेकिन आपके गो टू सब्जेक्ट्स फिर कौन से होने चाहिए? आपको लिटरेरी क्रिटिसिज्म, लिटरेरी थ्योरी, इनसे स्टार्ट करना चाहिए, रादर देन स्टार्टिंग विद दैट ओशन ऑफ ब्रिटिश राइटिंग्स, अमेरिकन लिटरेचर, इंडियन लिटरेचर. उनको भी आप साइमल्टेनियसली करिए, लेकिन सबसे पहले आप ये 3 जो यूनिट्स हैं, कल्चरल स्टडीज, लिटरेरी क्रिटिसिज्म, लिटरेरी थ्योरी, इनसे स्टार्ट कीजिए. फिर उसके बाद हल्का-हल्का सा आप अपने ब्रिटिश राइटिंग्स और अमेरिकन राइटिंग्स को कवर कीजिए, या बाकी का वर्ल्ड लिटरेचर उसको कवर कीजिए. सो दैट शुड बी द करेक्ट अप्रोच.
Right, ma'am. So, learners, I hope you have got a clear idea about what should be the smart approach, because ऐसे पढ़ना सब कुछ है. Nobody will tell you कि don't study this, don't study that. And ma'am की एक बात अगर आपने बहुत notice की होगी, तो relevance वाले questions बहुत आ रहे हैं, which is practical in today's time. Even if I talk about paper 1 also, like for research, very hypothetical questions, situational questions are being asked to check your understanding. So now the studies are not limited to just few keywords. It has gone beyond that. So whenever you are studying any topic, may it be paper 1 or paper 2, try to understand the concept, derive meaning out of it, and try to relate it to day-to-day life, and so that you have an understanding. As ma'am said, chronology is also very, very important. Try to make short notes and keep practicing them. And as ma'am said, try to incorporate some smart work so that it turns out to be better and beneficial. So learners, we have got some questions for all of you. If you would like, we would like to make you practice that. Yes, ma'am, I'll take a couple of questions in between. Shabnam is asking how much are these PYQs important for paper 1 and paper 2? So, ma'am, for paper 1, if I'll answer paper 1 ke liye, to PYQs are very, very important, because learners, see, understand, you get to know the trend. And whenever you are solving PYQs, try to solve all the options provided in there, because one question can get you 4 different options, and 4 options can lead to 4 different questions. So there should always be a smart approach in answering PYQs, and not going very far beyond. Try to solve the last 4 to 5 years are more than enough, because usse pehle questions jo pattern se aate the, they are not relevant today. So PYQ practice is a must for paper 1. Ma'am, what about paper 2?
Absolutely. I think, ma'am, एक बार I was watching your session only and you were saying, of course, आपको previous year's questions करने चाहिए, they are important. लेकिन paper 1 में अब सिर्फ ऐसा नहीं है कि previous year's questions ही करेंगे. जैसे you were also observing, I think आप अच्छी तरह से explain कर रहे थे, even प्रीति मैम बता रहे थे कि कैसे history में the paper was completely very very different. तो अगर सिर्फ previous year's questions ही, तो मैम की classes please, जैसे अगर आप कुछ और नहीं कर पा रहे हैं तो paper 1 में regularly ensure कीजिए that you're attending Tulika ma'am's class, प्रीति मैम्स क्लास, बिकॉज एटलीस्ट आपके बेसिक फंडास you'll start understanding के क्या है, और उसके बाद प्रीवियस ईयर्स क्वेश्चंस भी आपको सिंपल लगने लगेंगे. बिकॉज मैम क्या होता है इंग्लिश के बच्चों का ना, वो सडनली डीआई हो गया या कुछ और क्वेश्चंस हो गए,
I
उनको
think,
समझ
ma'am,
में नहीं आता
RC must be their strong point. Reading comprehension must be their strong point. I could sense
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
Because
RC, yes. Yes,
yes.
ma'am. RC, definitely. A lot of them say that, they get like full marks altogether. But
So that's
baki
true.
DI ho gaya, maths ho gaya. So that is, of course, another problem child altogether. And of course, to add to our woes, they make it tougher every time. ऐसा नहीं है कि
It
कि
has
उनका
to be that
level.
way, ma'am, because that is how they have to make the cutthroat competition. So learners,
Exactly.
be prepared with the best of the lot. And as ma'am is there, nobody can guide you people better than Neerja ma'am. Don't miss any of her classes. Keep following her. Keep following the tips, whatever she is giving. Make short notes. Keep practicing questions with her. And I'm sure with ma'am, Preeti ma'am and me, we'll surely make you clear your upcoming exam. So we'll be practicing few questions, learners. So let's start. First question is on your screen. You'll be getting one question from paper 1 and one from paper 2. So let us check how well prepared you people are for both the papers. So first question is on your screen, learners, and everybody give it a try. Giving answer correct or incorrect is secondary. At least you should attempt. So everyone start answering. Yes, Anushika, the same thing we were discussing, because for people of students who are from literature background, they find RC easy, relatively easy. So make that your strong point. And DI, जैसे आपने कहा टफ लगता है, प्रीति मैम उसे बहुत easy, interesting बना देती हैं. तो कभी भी classes मत miss कीजिए. Yes, it might take some time, but eventually you will develop a knack to solve it. You will develop command over it, right? So that is very, very important. Yes. Keep answering, everyone. Let's see. The question is, teaching at the understanding level involves encouraging students to think critically and reflect on their learning experience. Teaching at memory level involves rote memorization and does not encourage critical thinking. So D is the right answer, and I could see most of you have come up with the right answer. Shabash, students. So yes, first statement is incorrect and second statement is correct. So Neeja ma'am, your question on the screen.
एब्सोल्युटली ये क्वेश्चन ऑफ कोर्स नॉन फिक्शन प्रोज से है. अब जब आप जैसे तुलिका मैम बता रहे हैं कि जब प्रीवियस ईयर्स क्वेश्चंस करते हैं, ट्राई टू आइडेंटिफाई कि कौन से यूनिट से आ रहा है. इवन दो वी आर आल्सो प्रिपेयरिंग अ वीडियो टू टेल यू अबाउट कंसंट्रेशन ऑफ क्वेश्चंस पर यूनिट इन इंग्लिश, लेकिन आप भी थोड़ा सा आइडिया लगाएंगे तो आपको पता चलेगा कि पोइट्री में से कैसे 15 से ऑलमोस्ट 17 क्वेश्चंस आ जाते हैं. ये ऑफ कोर्स नॉन फिक्शन प्रोज से है. व्हिच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग सेट्स ऑफ इंटरलोक्यूटर्स डिबेट ऑन आर्ट इन ऑस्कर वाइल्ड्स द डीके ऑफ लाइंग एंड ऑब्जर्वेशन. Excellent. I think answers आने भी लगा है. शबनम, देवशीष, रवि, अनुशिका, रानी, मीनाक्षी, yes, मोनिका, सबने बिल्कुल सही जवाब दे दिया है. A is absolutely the right answer. A is the right answer over here. Remember, दोनों के दोनों जो उनके sons हैं, उनको एक तरह से this is dedicated, the decay of lying. And otherwise also Oscar Wilde किसके लिए जाने जाते हैं? He is known for getting the aesthetic movement, art for art's sake. आर्ट का कोई moral purpose नहीं होना चाहिए, जैसे हॉरिस ने कहा था art should both instruct and delight. लेकिन ऑस्कर वाइल्ड क्या कह रहे हैं? ऑस्कर वाइल्ड कह रहे हैं that morality is not the realm of literature. And याद है इसमें आप ये भी पॉइंट एक लिख लीजिएगा कि द पिक्चर ऑफ डोरियन ग्रे, द ओनली नॉवल बाय ऑस्कर वाइल्ड, उसके अंदर प्रेफेस में वो क्या कहते हैं? नो बुक इज गुड और बैड, इट्स आइदर वेल रिटन और बैडली रिटन. और इसी नोट पे आई थिंक तुलिका मैम यही हमें प्रोफेशनल लाइफ में भी बोला जाता है, राइट, कि जब मैनेजर फीडबैक देता है तो पर्सनली हमारे ऊपर नहीं देता है, वर्क के ऊपर देता है. तो कभी कभी जब
The
गंदा
time you were explaining, I was trying to relate it with the real life.
that
So,
only,
बहुत बढ़िया. Actually,
yes,
see, learners, this happens when you are studying and you are understanding and deciphering the things to the core. आपको समझ आता है how relatable these things are. So,
absolutely, ma'am.
absolutely wonderful, wonderful.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Over
learners.
to you,
The
ma'am.
next question. Ji. Which of the following is an example of inclusive learning environment? So we have been hearing a lot about inclusion. So out of these options, which will you categorize that, yes, this defines the inclusive learning environment? So everyone, which is the right answer? Yes, keep answering. Inclusive learning environment. किसे कहेंगे? A classroom where students are expected to conform to strict rules and regulations, or where students of certain ethnicity are allowed, or students are discouraged from asking questions or challenging the teacher's authority, or where our students are encouraged to share their unique experience and perspective. So yes, absolutely correct. All have to be encouraged, and they should be, the way should be given so that they can share their unique experiences. So here we are talking about individual differences and their enriching experience. Well done, learners. Most of you have come up with the right answer. So whenever we are talking about inclusion, it talks about taking everyone into consideration, leaving no one behind. Very well done. Next question, ma'am, yours.
Absolutely. In ancient versus moderns, which of the following ancient literary personalities have been mentioned in the Battle of Books? So, Battle of Books, abhi hum log foundation batch mein bhi, Augustan age mein bhi, we were covering it. Remember, ancient versus moderns debate jo chal raha hai, and how we are able to see moderns ko spider ki tarah compare kiya jata hai, that they are just weaving pedantry and it's of no use. Jabki ancients ko bee ki tarah, bees producing honey that can be consumed as well. उस तरह से एक तरह से कंपेयर किया जाता है. तो कौन मेंशन्ड है? Who all are mentioned? Garima, if you've answered for okay,
So you
all
can
right.
write paper 1 or
Please,
paper 2, so we'll understand which question they are answering.
yes, yes. We still haven't got the right answer so far. We still haven't got the right answer so far. और हम लोगों ने इसको काफी बार डिस्कस भी किया हुआ है. No, C is not correct. C is not correct. Technically, very good. Karunya has answered it. Karunya has answered it. Karunya Rajakumari has answered it. Virgil, Cicero, Homer, Aristotle, बिल्कुल सही है. So Karunya got it right. Karunya got it right. And Battle of Books, religious allegory, आपका Tale of Tub हो जाता है. Battle of Books is talking about the ancient versus modern debate. और यहाँ पर King James Library is a setting. याद है ये भी question आपका पूछा गया है exam में. So please don't forget these things altogether. But Karunya, good. Rani उसके बाद answer कर रहे हैं. Ma'am, over to you for the next question.
Great. So learners, a small input, whichever question, whenever you find it that you are not being able to answer correct, try to write it down somewhere. See, once written, you'll not forget it. Just don't let the question go by. You never know, this can be a game changer, right? This 2 marks can be, it can work it out very well. So whenever, see these explanations which ma'am has provided, try to take note of it. I'll be sharing the PDF with all of you after the session gets over, so that you can get the explanation as well. Try to make use of it, and next time onwards, whenever you are solving, you'll surely come up with the right answer. So don't, never leave the question, even if it has gone wrong. So next question, which of the following are benefits of collaborative learning environment? So again, if we talk about NEP 2020 also, or in terms of various teaching aspects, collaborative learning environment is promoted at every level. So what are the benefits which we can reap out of collaborative learning environments? So these are the options. You have to make the right combination. Yes, everyone. And I hope you people have joined ma'am's channel, Telegram channel. Ma'am का भी join कर लिया आपने, मेरा भी कर लिया है, प्रीति मैम का भी कर लीजिए, ताकि कोई भी class miss ना करें. You will keep getting information, classes के timings, links. Every information is being provided to all of you by these channels. So never underestimate the power of this channel being connected. So yes, which is the option which we are eliminating? बहुत बढ़िया रवि. So किसको eliminate करेंगे हम? B को eliminate करेंगे. बिल्कुल सही. So whenever we are talking about collaboration, it results in increased communication. Motivation gets increased, more opportunities to personal feedback is there, and enhanced problem solving abilities. So by eliminating B, we got the right answer. Ma'am, over to you.
Absolutely. I really love जैसे मैम term of endearment use करते हैं learners. मुझे यही याद आ गया. यही we are able to remember you as that only, ma'am. That's always very sweet. And बिल्कुल सही. Absolutely. I think please pay heed to what ma'am is saying. Ma'am is absolutely right. कि make short notes. Try to make sure. I hope आप मेरी नहीं तो मैम की पक्का सुनेंगे, right? Otherwise I'll call ma'am again, to scold all of you. Who's the author of essays? Who's the author of essays? Very good. चलो शुक्र है ये वाला आंसर आप लोगों ने सही दे दिया है. That's really nice. Good. Shabnam. Okay, before that, Devashish, Nikhil, everyone's right. I hope you're all very clear कि the so-called patriarch or father of essays, that is Montague, और Montague से inspired होके Francis Bacon is trying to be the father of English essays, aphoristic style of writing, witty statements जो आप देख पाते हो वो हम लोग देख पा रहे हैं. So absolutely right. Montague is the right answer. Montague is absolutely important, right? So that is the correct answer. Perfect. Great.
And this is so good that this Ravi, Debashish, they keep giving further explanation. So
Right.
this shows their engagement. It's not only limited to just the option. And I always encourage, whatever you know about it, you keep writing, because that gives you also the confidence, and even peer learning happens. So very good learners, keep doing these activities. It will encourage others as well.
Absolutely. You get that push that Areva, I'm getting one more information extra. That's really nice.
Bilkul. So yes, learners, next question. Which of the following are the basic requirements for effective teaching? So many a time these questions appear to be very simple, but you have to be very, to the point while answering the question. There is at times thin line between the options. So go through them, read them properly, and then select the options. Everyone. Yes. So which of the following are the basic requirements if we are talking about in terms of effective teaching? So teaching only what is included in curriculum, good communication skill, using a rigid teaching approach, excellent subject knowledge, ability to connect with students. So there is a special significance of some positive and negative words whenever we are talking in these areas. So yes, we can see that there are certain terms which needs to be eliminated. Okay, so yes, what would be the right answer? A and C ko eliminate karna padega. All right, so what will be the right option then? B, D, and E. Since A talks about teaching only what is including in the curriculum. So now, so see, you must have been seeing even when ma'am teaches you, she tries to go a little beyond the curriculum. So it is generally the nature of teachers that they want to spread it little more so that it becomes more informative and understandable to students. So whenever you people become teacher, or you must be already teaching somewhere, try to go a little beyond. So many things are there which you can actually fit into your life, and you can understand that yes, this happens to be the correct answer. And since this question happens to be from teaching aptitude, it tests your aptitude, right? So always keep this in mind, which is actually holding relevance. So yes, we have eliminated the rigid teaching approach, because whenever we're talking about teaching, it has to be flexible. So absolutely correct. Ma'am, your question.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Ma'am, I don't know about others. I'm 200% attending your classes daily, huh? I think I'm ready. This statement, criticism is the art of interpreting art, is said by which of the following critics? सो ये भी क्वेश्चंस आप देख पाते हैं कि कोटेशंस, क्रोनोलॉजी इस तरह के क्वेश्चंस फॉस आपसे पूछे जाने लग गए हैं एंड इट्स नॉट बेसिकली कि वो आपकी मेमोरी को टेस्ट कर रहे हैं, दे जस्ट ट्राइंग टू अंडरस्टैंड कि आपको इंपॉर्टेंट चीज़ें किस-किस ने कही हैं, उसके बारे में नॉलेज है कि नहीं है। ब्रिलियंट, देवाशीष हैज़ आंसर्ड इट करेक्टली, देवाशीष हैज़ गॉट इट बैंग ऑन राइट। गायत्री, आई सी अ लॉट ऑफ यू सिलेक्टिंग ड्राइडन। देखिए ड्राइडन इज ऑफ कोर्स इन एन एसे ऑन ड्रामेटिक पोएसी, वो भी क्रिटिसिज्म के बारे में बात करते हैं, बट दिस इज एक्चुअली वॉल्टर पेटर, राइट? वॉल्टर पेटर जो अपनी स्टडीज इन द हिस्ट्री ऑफ रेनेसांस लेके आ रहे हैं, इन दैट ही इज ट्राइंग टू टेल यू दैट इट इज बेसिकली ट्राइंग टू इवैल्यूएट योर ओवरऑल एग्जिस्टेंस इटसेल्फ। तो कंफ्यूज मत होइएगा इसमें, ड्राइडन आप में से काफी सारे लोग कर रहे हैं। ड्राइडन इज टॉकिंग अबाउट अदर थिंग्स, रिमेंबर लिसिडियस हो गया, नियंडर का कैरेक्टर which is Dryden himself, the four characters that he is creating all together. So essay of dramatic poesy, English drama versus French drama के बीच में difference, how English drama is more lifelike, जैसे आम जिंदगी होगी, वही same चीज जो आप mythology में करते हैं, that Ramayana is all about idealism whereas Mahabharata is about grey characters like you and me, right? So same thing that you're able to see के English drama was more closer to life that we were looking at, and of course ancient versus modern वाला debate होता है, लेकिन ये वाला जो statement है, that's Walter Pater. So please do keep a track of that. Over to you, ma'am.
Yes. So learners, before we move ahead, I hope you people are already enjoying the session. So those who have not liked the session, do mark your attendance by liking the session. I would also like to inform you people that our foundation batch 2.0 is already going on, where you are getting paper 1 plus paper 2 100% live batches, which you can also watch afterwards in a recorded form. So these batches provide you with mock tests, PDF notes, and of course time to time strategy sessions. So in case you are planning to clear upcoming exam, get into the structured course and avail the benefit. And right now you are getting additional discount. You can use Neeja ma'am's or my code and avail the benefit of deep discounted price. And this is a limited period offer for UGC NetSet 2.0 batch, which is currently going. So learners, time and again Testbook super coaching आप लोग के लिए offers लेके आते हैं, जिसमें आपको काफी कम prices में courses are available. So इस course में आपको paper 1 और paper 2 दोनों मिलता है, और इसकी validity रहेगी till the exam date. So you can use ma'am's code or my code and avail the benefit. Yes, ma'am. So next question, which of the following are characteristics of qualitative interview? So whenever we are talking about qualitative, so we consider this aspect in terms of research, and how do we judge that it is a qualitative interview? So those are the characteristics which we have to identify. So number 1, it is less structured. Next, it reflects researchers' concern. Third, interviews allowed to ramble. The interview has standardized questions and it is flexible in approach. Now here the keyword is qualitative, right? So we have certain key features which demarcates qualitative from quantitative. So which will be the right option? Everyone. Yes, keep answering. Okay. So which are the things which we need to eliminate? Is it less structured? Does it reflects researchers' concern? Qualitative. The interview is allowed to ramble, or interview has standardized questions. It is flexible in approach. So learners, the correct answer will be D. I don't know where you people have got stuck. Yes, ACE is the right answer, Anushika. Nayantara, what is the concept behind CDE? See, it is less structured. Quantitative interviews are more structured. They follow a very to the point approach, right? But qualitative interviews are like, if I ask you a question, you give me an answer, and I pick up another question from your answer, right? So it doesn't follow that structure pattern, right? Next, it reflects researchers' concern is not holding much of sense here. The interview is allowed to ramble because qualitative होता है, किसी भी दिशा में कैसे भी जा सकता है. The interview has standardized questions. No, it keeps changing because it has flexible approach. So when it will follow a rigid approach, in that case, it will have standardized questions. Qualitative is like मैंने आपसे कुछ पूछा, आपने जवाब दिया, उससे question निकला, and it will go with the flow. So no rigid setup is being followed. So I hope this concept is clear. So please take note of it. जिनके भी questions गलत हो रहे हैं, options को जरूर एक बार practice कर लेंगे. Next, ma'am.
Absolutely. Our options को definitely देखना चाहिए, ma'am. That's a very important advice. Which of the following classic books are mentioned in Italo Calvino's short essay, Why Read the Classics? अब ये एक बहुत ही important feedback है. आपको जैसे Virginia Woolf के बारे में पता होगा, D.H. Lawrence के बारे में पता होगा. But you know, for instance, D.H. Lawrence का Why Novels Matter, या Virginia Woolf जो essays लिख रहे हैं, या फिर not just essays. Remember, we were talking about Kew Gardens, a short story. तो एक writer उनके और जो वर्क्स आ रहे हैं, जैसे अर्नेस्ट हेमिंग्वे के सिर्फ नॉवेल्स ना पता हो के उनकी शॉर्ट स्टोरीज भी आपको पता होनी चाहिए, या एसेज भी आपको पता होने चाहिए. एंड सिमिलरली इटालो कैल्विनो. नाउ इज व्हाई रीड द क्लासिक्स, व्हाट इज अ यस, आई थिंक we've already got the right answer. So we have Rabia, Debashish, Ravi, Dhiman, Sunali. A lot of you are getting the right answer. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. तो यहाँ पर ही citing the examples also of Moby Dick by Herman Melville. उससे याद है आपको Melville revival 1920s में कैसे when a professor gave this book to be read to students, and they said this is actually representing America's indomitable spirit of never giving up. Anna Karenina again by Leo Tolstoy, even though ये आपका बाद में आ रही है War and Peace से, but what are you able to see that Leo Tolstoy says that's his first novel. And of course King Lear is also cited. King Lear के adaptations भी आपको पता होने चाहिए. 20th century adaptations of Shakespeare's King Lear, कैसे आपको नेहॉम टेट का आता है रीवर्किंग ऑफ किंग लियर, या फिर और भी जो अडेप्टेशंस है. तो शेक्सपियर के अडेप्टेशंस पे क्वेश्चंस आर आल्सो इंपॉर्टेंट. सो हियर ऑल ऑफ यू गॉट इट करेक्ट. Over to you, ma'am, for the next question.
Thank you, ma'am. So learners, I believe the explanation which ma'am is giving, please listen it very carefully, because every explanation has further concepts. As I told you, now if we are, the best way to use PYQs or these questions are to understand them thoroughly, so that these understanding will help you decode some other concepts. So be very careful of, even if you have got the, many a times it happens that by fluke also we get the answer correct, right? That's okay, that's absolutely okay, but always try to figure out the concept behind it, right? So never leave it untouched or ununderstood. So yes, next question, statement based question. Gaining access to public or social setting is an important issue in ethnographic research. So here we are talking about a research which is done with an ethnography in mind. So is it difficult to gain access to public or social setting? Next statement, there is no distinction between an overt research and a covert ethnography in terms of access and participation. So for answering this question, number one, you need to understand what an ethnography research is, and how do we conduct a covert research and an overt research. So is there any distinction between the two? So you have to answer it accordingly. Yes, everyone. And I think we have practiced this in the class also. We have studied and I have explained to you, all of you, that how do we do overt and how do we do a covert research. Yes, very good. Shabash. Bahut badhiya. Perfect. So pehla statement is absolutely correct, which says that whenever we are doing a ethnography research, we are trying to study culture or tribe of any group, right? So getting into that, getting access to that kind of a setting is very, very important. Second thing is, there is distinction between a covert and an overt. Now, there are certain cases wherein the researcher works as an undercover agent, right? He or she doesn't lets the other know his or her identity, right? So whenever we are doing an overt and covert, in both the cases, access and participation varies. Absolutely correct. Very good. So yes, ma'am. Next, your question.
Right, absolutely. Who's the author of Pound Era? Pound Era का author कौन है? इस तरह के direct questions, you either know it or you don't know it. But you know, ये बहुत ही important works होते हैं, and that is the reason they are being asked. So, who's the writer? Who's the writer talking about the Pound Era? Pound Era कौन लिख रहा है? No, no, Sonali. Be careful. Pound Era. Try looking at it again. Very good. Shabnam has got it right. Shabnam has got it right. It's Hugh Kenner. Hugh Kenner is absolutely the correct answer. Rabia का भी बिल्कुल सही जवाब आ गया है. So Hugh Kenner is the one जो Pound Era लिख रहे हैं. Please remember, why was Ezra Pound so important? Because Ezra Pound आपको Make It New का पूरा title दे रहे हैं. He's the one who's trying to tell you कि 20th century will have a different style of writing, and that is the reason modern age में आप काफी सारे isms देख पाते हैं. Vorticism, surrealism, Dadaism, because they are able to see कि World War I के बाद typically they are not able to trust mankind at all, and that is the reason they are having alternate means of expression. तो ये चीज आपको थोड़ा सा याद रखनी है. And of course, yes, that's right, Debashish. Ezra Pound is also associated with imagism. याद है आपका Vorticism, T.E. Hulme is of course a major source of inspiration for imagism. But you know, when you talk about all of these movements, Ezra Pound is at the background, and Kenner का जो work है, it gives Ezra Pound that status overall. That is what you're able to see. Perfect, great. Ma'am, over to you.
Ji, ma'am. Yes, learners. So when the researcher's sex affect the behavior of a participant in a study, it refers to. So learners understand there's a difference between sex and gender, right? So we are talking about a construct. So where do you fit this? Is it a psychosocial effect? Is it a biosocial effect? Is it a psychological effect? Or is it an environmental effect? Which effect are we talking about when a researcher sex affect the behavior of a participant in the study? How he perceives things, how he, decodes the behavior. So which effect are we talking about? So yes, everyone. So is it associated with psychosocial, psychological? So how do we define these terms? So psychosocial is your mental behavior along with how you, perceive the social aspect. Psychosocial, psychological is purely your mental construct. Biosocial is your biological, affiliations and how you behave socially, right? So which will be the most appropriate answer? Yes, it's a biosocial effect. So many a times learners ऐसे भी questions आप encounter करेंगे जो शायद आपने पहले नहीं पढ़े हो, नहीं सुने हो. So always apply a logic, always try to use an educated guess that yes, ये option नहीं बैठेगा, है ना? या ये option is the closest which I can imagine or I can assign meaning to it. So whenever you go for an educated guess, the higher the chances are that you'll get the answer correct. So well done, learners. We'll move to the next question. Ma'am, your question.
Very interesting, ma'am. And ma'am, की वजह से I hope all of you are able to recollect and remember that, you know, what is the key difference between sex and gender. किस तरह से the second wave of feminism, just like Simone de Beauvoir says, one is not born a woman, one becomes a woman because of social conditioning. Ma'am, I don't think आपने और precise way में explain कर सकते थे. Very beautifully explained and illustrated. Moving on to the next question. Who wrote the essay Naipaul's India and Mine, 1984, as a reply to V.S. Naipaul's An Area of Darkness? ये काफी simple question है. Excellent. I'm really glad all of you are able to identify. This is Nizam Ezekiel. Nizam Ezekiel, our Jewish, Benny Jewish poet who studied at Bombay University and also taught over there altogether. काफी सारे important works, Night of the Scorpion हो गया, या फिर आपका, you know, Goodbye Party to Miss Pushpa T.S. ये सारे के सारे works of course Nizam Ezekiel लिख रहे हैं. So all of you have got it right. All of you are bang on correct over here in this particular regard. So good. I'm really glad कि ये वाला आंसर सबका सही आ गया है. Ma'am, we also wanted to know, of course, we know you're very professional. You are very particular and you give some really amazing advice to students. But what would your advice be कि अगर कोई me time, क्योंकि काफी बार students aspirants also get very depressed or stressed altogether. तो आप इसमें क्या advice देंगे and what do you do in your personal me time?
Ma'am, I am a little an old school person. I always believe in giving time to myself in terms like I don't binge watch movies or OTTs. I am a very enthusiast in terms of sports. So I'll do a 5 kilometer run or I will play tennis. So these are the fitness things which I do, and that keeps me back on track. Because, ma'am, there's a lot of mental work since I'm doing my PhD also, and there are a couple of other projects also. There's a curriculum development project on which I am working, and of course this work is there, the regular activities, and of course the home part is there. So I always try to work on these basic things, which is like relaxing, doing meditation, going for a walk, going for a run. So I find my solace in that. So my advice to all the students is that try to touch the grass. Don't be so much addicted to notifications of your screen, and I believe that will give you a fresh wave of energy, and that will help you bounce back and study your concepts even better. And try to look around yourselves, because whenever I teach research, I try to educate them in the manner that they should try to figure out things around them. So that is what is needed from students of this fraternity, I believe, ma'am, because they're at the highest level now. If they clear this exam, they'll be teaching their future professors. So they need to have that intellect level should be developed to that level that they are able to understand their surroundings, relate it, and make meaning out of it. So, ma'am, I try to do this.
That's so interesting. I never knew this at all about you, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
That's really interesting.
I enjoy doing that, ma'am.
Over to
Yes.
you,
So,
ma'am.
Alana, the next question for all of you is feedback is immediate in which communication? So here we are talking about 4 types of communication. We have print, broadcast, top down, and face to face. So where do we expect an immediate feedback? So everyone. Yes. Skipping, बहुत बढ़िया. Yes, Anushika, whatever you want to do that. And trust me, after doing that, when you study, your gray cells will start working even in a more efficient manner. Yes. Great. Face to face. Perfect. So feedback is immediate in case of face to face communication. What is the other word which we use for face to face communication? Which type of communication do we categorize into? Is it an intrapersonal? Is it an interpersonal, group, or mass communication? Can anybody tell me? What is the other word which we use for face-to-face communication, the most common type of communication which we use? Very good, Anushika. We are talking about interpersonal communication, right? Bilkul sahi. Ma'am, your question.
Thank you. Which is the only historical or political work printed during Machiavelli's lifetime? Machiavelli ke lifetime mein, and this is also a question that we have previously seen. So, what is the correct answer over here? What becomes the correct answer? Only historical or political work. क्योंकि मिकियावेली एंड ये आप ज्यादातर देख पाते हो. नो, प्रिंस वाज अनफॉर्चुनेटली पोस्टमसली पब्लिश्ड. प्रिंस वाजंट पब्लिश्ड ड्यूरिंग हिज लाइफ टाइम. यही मैं आपको बार बार बताती हूँ कि फिलिप सिडनी हो गए. सर फिलिप सिडनी के भी सारे के सारे जो वर्क्स थे, दे वर गेटिंग सर्क्यूलेटेड बट दे वर नॉट पब्लिश्ड अंटिल ही पास्ड अवे. एंड देन ऑफ कोर्स उनकी सिस्टर मैरी सिडनी इनके सारे वर्क्स पब्लिश करवाती हैं. ठीक उसी तरह से शबनम हैज गॉट द राइट आंसर. द आर्ट ऑफ वॉर इज द करेक्ट आंसर. The Art of War is absolutely right. Art of War जो था, that was actually published during Machiavelli's lifetime itself. तो ये भी चीजें याद रखिएगा कि काफी सारे जो लोग हैं, जो कोटियर्स हैं या किंग्स के आसपास हैं, तो ये ओपनली इनको परमिशन नहीं मिल रही थी to actually publish their works openly, but they were of course writing, they were circulating their works. तो ये चीजें थोड़ा सा याद रखिएगा. अपने इटालियन राइटिंग्स में आप 2 चीजों को अपडेट कर सकते हैं आज, क्योंकि मैम भी बार बार आपको गाइड कर रहे हैं कि मेक शॉर्ट नोट्स जो आंसर्स गलत हो रहे हैं. इटालो कैलोविनो, दैट विल आल्सो कम इन योर इटालियन लिटरेचर के नोट्स, वर्ल्ड लिटरेचर की कैटेगरी के अंदर, और इसको भी आप प्लीज उसी कैटेगरी के अंदर डाल लीजिएगा. Over to you, ma'am, for the next question.
Yes, ma'am. So, learners, before we proceed, are you people enjoying the session? Should we plan more such session in future? So, एक बार just give us a quick confirmation that you people are finding such questions informative, because यहाँ 1 घंटे में हम होता नहीं, डिस्कशन करते करते बहुत सारे कंसेप्ट समझ ले रहे हैं, दोनों पेपर की थोड़ी थोड़ी बातें समझ में आ जा रही है, कैसे पढ़ना है, क्या पढ़ना है, कैसे पढ़ना है, राइट? Many a times we are literally, we do not have the right guidance, right way, as in what to study and how to study, and unfortunately we are bombarded with so much of information that हमें लगता है सब कुछ important है, right? But our the idea behind conducting such session is to give you the right guidance. So nobody can guide you better than Neeja ma'am for paper 2. So try to make best use of it. Make the notes, follow the sessions, follow a track, because it is very see, these exams demand lot of consistency, discipline. Intelligence is one thing, but this is like you have to be consistent. So be regular, because most of the students whom I am seeing, I keep watching them in my paper 1 classes as well. So if the students are consistent, they are there, present everywhere, right? So that makes a difference. If you have just started your preparation also, still you have good 100 days time, try to make best use of it, and we'll surely be planning more sessions, right ma'am?
Absolutely, absolutely, ma'am. I am definitely loving, being in your company and just getting up pura ka pura wo jo energy hai, you're rubbing it off to all of us. So certainly we are loving it.
That's great, ma'am, because that the entire purpose is that we have to bring, because ma'am, we deal with the students who are in higher education, and they have lots of other responsibilities as well. Most of them are working, they have work related to their social life. So despite of that, if you can give 2 to 3 hours for this particular thing, you will see what difference it will bring into your life. So learners, always be consistent, try to follow all the classes, चाहे मैम की हो, प्रीति मैम की हो, मेरी हो, जरूर से रेगुलर क्लासेस कीजिए, and try not to break this league, because ये 80 90 100 days जो है, this can actually bring about lot of difference, right? Yes, exactly. So learners, for this question, the correct answer is B, absolutely correct. So यहाँ पे network communication is avoided, can be removed. Rest B, C, and D are right options. So A and E we can remove. We are talking about advantage of digital media. So of course, network communication is there in digital media. People can create and distribute media content. The end product can be delivered in real time. तुरंत कोई live हो जाता है, आप उन्हें देख लेते हैं. Reproduction and distribution of information products are less expensive. So it is considered to be as practically hardly any expense happens in digital media. So absolutely correct, learners. Ma'am, your question.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. What is Robert Frost's main argument in the essay "The Figure a Poem Makes"? काफी सारी important non-fiction prose topic से related question. ये Robert Frost का important work है. कई बार आपको ये तो याद रह जाता है कि Robert Frost is getting Pulitzer 4 times, लेकिन कौन सा essay he has written? Just like Edgar Allan Poe का आपको याद रह जाएगा Raven, लेकिन poetic principle is also equally important, जिसके अंदर he is complementing a couple of works. So ये सारी चीजें of course are important. What is the right answer? Yes, absolutely right. Absolutely right. Who's got this? Ravi Pandey, Arshia, सबका बिल्कुल सही जवाब आया है. So here A is absolutely correct, right? So the fact that every work is having typically some new features attached to it, that is what Frost is trying to talk about. And it's very strange because Robert Frost जाने जाते हैं to introduce the colloquial style altogether, but still he's talking about speciality, special effects altogether. तो वो चीजें आपके लिए काफी important हैं. Over to you, ma'am, for the next question.
Yes, ma'am. So learners, next question is on communication. Communication can be a path to seek truth. Communication can also be used to suppress truth. So very deep meaning statements. So do you consider these statements to be true, partially correct, completely incorrect? So everyone, yes. And this question was asked in December 2023. So yes, everyone. So very good, perfect. Both are correct. Absolutely right. So when we are communicating, we can reveal the truth, and by means of communication, we can always suppress the truth as well. So absolutely correct. Both are right. Ma'am, your question.
Right. Who famously popularized the term Philistines in his criticism of the Victorian age? काफी easy है. Barbarians, Philistines, ये कौन categorizations, populace, ये तीन important categories कौन create करता है? What is the correct answer? Absolutely right, Ravi. Matthew Arnold is the correct answer. Debashish, yes, बिल्कुल सही. Arnold is the correct answer. Ravi, Shabani, Garima, सबका ये बिल्कुल सही जवाब आया है. So that is there. Okay, I think there's one more question, ma'am. Who's the author of Essays of Elia? ये भी काफी simple सा है. जल्दी से बताइए इसका भी. This is very simple again. What is the correct answer over here? What becomes the correct answer over here? जल्दी से बताइए क्या सही जवाब है? Who's the author of Essays of Elia? एब्सोल्युटली राइट. चार्ल्स लैम बिल्कुल सही. तो ये भी प्लीज याद रखिएगा, एसेज जो आ रहे हैं आपका रोमांटिक प्रोज राइटिंग से भी काफी क्वेश्चंस पूछे जाते हैं. सो यू विल हैव टू कीप दैट इन माइंड. ओवर टू यू मैम फॉर योर क्वेश्चन.
जी मैम. Learners, this question is from Environment Unit. It asks a 30 dB increase in noise pollution level represent how many fold increase in sound intensity. So if you have attended the sessions wherein we have discussed about noise pollution, we have talked about how do we represent different levels of noise and how do they correspond to their respective sound intensity. So any dB ka sound, if increased by 30 dB, what will be the dashed fold increase in sound intensity? So everyone, these are your options. Okay, very good. All those who have mentioned 1,000 fold is absolutely correct. So I think I have got this practiced also. So every 10 times when it increases a 0, right? So if it is a 10 dB, if it's a 30 dB and 10 dB gets increased, it is 100 fold, right? So every 10 increase, if there are 3 zeros, 10 plus 10 plus 10, there are 3 zeros, so it will ultimately result in 1,000 fold increase in sound intensity. So whenever there is an increase in dB in sound, it always moves into 10, right? So every time it is 10, so thrice it makes it 1,000 fold increase. So absolutely correct. All those who have marked 1,000 as the right answer. I think, ma'am, there has been some overlap of this. Yes, ma'am, this is your question.
That's a very interesting point, मैम. तो मतलब कौन से डेसिबल पे हम लोग टोटल बहरे हो जाएंगे? और ये आजकल हम देखते भी हैं
120 जो हमारे वो चलते हैं ना, कॉन्सर्ट्स जो होते हैं वो 120 डेसिबल पे चलते हैं एंड अनफॉर्चुनेटली हम बहुत इंजॉय करते हैं. बट WHO ने कहा है कि अगर हम 120 डेसिबल के साथ हम कुछ समय तक रहें तो इट कैन इवन रिजल्ट इन परमानेंट डेफनेस. सो द वे वी टॉक, हम लोग जो बात करते हैं, दैट इज अराउंड 50 to 60 डेसिबल में हमारी रेगुलर बातचीत होती है. दैट इज द स्टैंडर्ड मोड. बट हमें इतनी आजकल लाउड नॉइजेस की आदत हो गई है दैट 120 इज द थ्रेशोल्ड एंड ज्यादातर कॉन्सर्ट्स जो होते हैं वो 120 पे ही होते हैं मैम.
That's very interesting, क्योंकि वो आजकल मैम जो मूवीज वगैरह भी देख रहे हैं, एनिमल में रणबीर कपूर या फिर इवन आर्टिकल 370 के अंदर ऑल्सो क्लोज टू दैट सीन में देयर ऑलमोस्ट बॉम्ब ब्लास्ट की वजह से डेफ होने लग रहे हैं. दैट्स वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग कि रियल लाइफ से जुड़े हुए क्वेश्चंस होते हैं ये. ऑलराइट, आई थिंक आप सब लोगों ने सही जवाब दे भी दिया है. जब तक आई वाज आस्किंग तुलिका मैम who is the author of A Modest Proposal, Jonathan Swift is absolutely the right answer. ये जुवेनालियन सैटायर से एसोसिएटेड है. उल्टा सैटायर आपकी आज की क्लास भी है. जुवेनालियन सैटायर इज मच मोर असर्बिक. जैसे कभी कभी अगर आप बहुत ही प्यार से किसी का मजाक उड़ा रहे हैं, दैट इज होरेशियन सैटायर. बट जुवेनालियन सैटायर हिटिंग बिलो द बेल्ट, बीइंग वेरी डायरेक्ट ऑल टुगेदर व्हाइल मेकिंग फन, दैट इज एन एग्जांपल ऑफ जुवेनालियन सैटायर. Good, great. Ma'am, over to you.
Yes, ma'am. So learners, bottom ash, so fly ash and bottom ash के बारे में हमने पढ़ा है. So उसके ऊपर based ये assertion based question है. Bottom ash generated into the boilers of thermal power plant are the major cause of nearby river pollution. So first thing, you need to understand what a bottom ash is, और thermal power plant के आसपास जो जितने भी water sources होते हैं, is bottom ash the reason behind the nearby river pollution? इसके पीछे का कारण, because whenever you have an assertion based question, you have to always write because and then try to solve it, because the hot water generated into thermal power plants are discharged into nearby rivers. So is it the right concept? Try to apply some logic. What are we talking about here? We are talking about bottom ash, and here we are talking about the hot water generated into thermal power plants. So are these making sense together partially, or they are incorrect? Yes, and I would like everyone to give it a try. Everybody at least make an attempt to solve it. बहुत बढ़िया, very good. So all those who have marked that both are correct but are individually correct, because many a times when we give it a read, we make it like yes, they are interlinked, because here also we are talking about thermal power plant, and here also we are talking about it is somehow related to rivers. But yes, the logic behind is whenever we are talking about bottom ash, so it is of course the thermal power plant का static life होती है, that goes for a toss. So absolutely great learners, you have answered it very correctly. Ma'am, your question.
Absolutely right. As mentioned in my first acquaintance with poets, which poet does William Hazlitt describe as the only person I ever knew who answered the idea of a man of genius? A man of genius. यहाँ पर what is the correct answer? What becomes the correct answer? And my first acquaintance with poets, ये काफी important work है जो Hazlitt लिख रहे हैं. Liberal के अंदर ये आ रहा है. No, B is not the correct answer. B is not the correct answer. We are still waiting for all of you to, give the right answer. आप लोगों ने सब दे दिया, आपने वर्ड्सवर्थ दे दिया, आप लोगों ने शेली दे दिया है, बट यू हैव नॉट गिवन द राइट आंसर. अब तो बायरन भी आ गया है, सो एवरीबडी शुड नो व्हाट इज द करेक्ट आंसर. व्हाट इज द करेक्ट आंसर? एंड प्लीज फॉलो मैम्स एडवाइस. द आंसर दैट यू गेटिंग इट रॉन्ग, प्लीज डू मेक नोट्स ऑल टुगेदर. No, I've already said ye sahi nahi hai. Shabnam has got it right. Coleridge is the right answer. Shabnam got it right over here. तो ये चीजें याद रखिएगा. Hazlitt, Coleridge को कहते हैं only person I ever knew who answered the idea of man as genius. ये तभी हम लोग बार-बार क्लासेस में भी बोलते हैं कि Coleridge is a classic example of a person with genius, but if you're not going to be laborious, जैसे मैम ने भी बोला था consistency and discipline, तो आप कैसे ruin हो जाते हैं. Coleridge के lectures on Shakespeare are considered to be some of the best written works of criticism on Shakespeare, but the fact that he was very lazy and he didn't really go to deliver all those lectures regularly, that is the reason unko job se bhi nikal diya gaya tha. So regularity, discipline, that also becomes extremely important over here, and that is what you're able to see. Over to you, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. So, ma'am, we have come to the end of the session, and we have mentioned learners. For all of you, 2 questions are there. So paper 2 and paper 1. You have to answer the question, not right now, but after the session gets over. So we'll be looking at who all have answered, because that is very important. As ma'am said, consistency is the key, and you need to take the pains to, after the session, you write down the answer to the question. Correct or incorrect is secondary. At least attempt the question. So this is your these are your homework questions from both the papers. So mention paper 2, whatever you find the correct answer, and paper 1, the correct option. And I and Neeja ma'am will be having a look at it, that who all have answered it. So learners, here is ma'am's Telegram ID as well as my ID. So if you have not joined it till yet, do join it. We'll be sharing the PDF by end of the day of all these questions, and also do let us know in the comments, how did you find this session? And before we conclude, our foundation batch 2.0 is already going on for paper 1 and paper 2, which offers 100% live batches wherein you get mock tests, strategy sessions, and PDF notes. So if you are planning to clear upcoming UGC NET exam in June 2024, this is the right time, and you can avail the present offers going on, which will give you validity till the exam date. So deep discounted prices abhi chal rahe hain, or ma'am ki classes, meri classes, Preeti ma'am ki classes will be available, and it will be there till the time of your exam, June exam. So this is the right time you can get enrolled, and I hope you all found the session to be informative and interesting. Comments mein hame zarur bataiyega, and do let us know if you want more such sessions in future. So a big thank you to you, Neeja ma'am. It was really pleasure. being with you and going through all these things. So this was a different experience altogether. So we look forward for many such sessions in future. So ma'am, over to you. You can conclude the session.
Absolutely, absolutely, ma'am. I don't know whether students followed suit. I followed suit, and I was writing down all the pointers. We said हम लोगों को बहुत पसंद आता है, मैम जैसे आप बोलते हैं learners, right? उसी से ही बहुत ही ज़्यादा energy मिल जाती है. Of course, मैम का बहुत important advice, educated guesses होनी चाहिए. Remember the examples that ma'am was sharing. Make short notes, particularly अगर आपको retain नहीं हो पा रहा है. And ma'am, of course, the anecdote that you shared, what is your me time mantra, that will definitely stay with us. So thank you so much for helping us, and thanks everyone for joining us. I hope all of you will remember the importance of making sure कि paper 1, paper 2 दोनों को integrated way में ही पढ़ के आप अपने नेट JRF को क्रैक कर पाएंगे. Over to you, ma'am.
Yes, so great learners, मैम की classes regularly attend कीजिए, paper 1 की प्रीति मैम और मेरी classes regularly attend कीजिए, and we'll be planning more interesting sessions ahead. So don't forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel, and do join our respective Telegram groups for all important updates. Take care everyone. God bless you all. Bye bye. Bye ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Bye. Bye, everyone.